Hello and welcome everyone. So in today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the daily analysis of ADAUSD, which is Cardano quoted in US dollar. Now, as you can see here, we were trading in a descending triangle and we break below the descending triangle, which was a scenario that we discussed with you in detail during our last episode. In fact, go back and watch our previous episode where we discussed with you in detail how this scenario could play out. We're going to go over to the daily charts, and as you can see here, we did backtest the EMA as we projected in our last daily analysis. We were expecting a possible drop of the price that could go as low as 1. We didn't go as low as 1, where we did go into this EMA and we did test the 34 period to 34 days EMA, and right now we U-turning and we're bouncing back, and Cardano can go up higher from this, in my opinion. However, keep in mind that we can still see some weakness at the end of March, because at the end of March we're going into this cyclical thing where most money managers and most hedge funds would be rebalancing their portfolio and therefore selling and buying new things, and this would create sometimes exaggerated move in everything, and this is why we're seeing the dollar, as you can see here. So if we move to the dollar index has been trading up recently, which is something usual to happen during the end of March and maybe beginning of April. So starting from the second week of April, we could see the dollar going down again, and therefore cryptos moving higher. You probably saw that Bitcoin was selling off, Litecoin was selling off, and Ethereum was selling off. All the major cryptos are selling off, and you probably asked yourself why. Well, this is the reason. It's this cycle that we have. So keep this in mind. We have this at every end of quarter. But the weakest month, in my opinion, when it comes to the stock market in general, is March. Is one of the weakest months if you take in the seasonality of the dollar and compare it with the stock markets, compare it with the S&P as well, and compare it with other cryptos if you want as well. March is one of the worst months when it comes to that, so keep this in mind. So we're going into this cyclical phase where the dollar is expected to trade higher, and we could see that until the end, until next week. And so keep this in mind, and this happens at the end of every quarter. So there'll be one in March, there'll be one in June, there'll be one in September, and there will be one in December, at the end of December. So keep these in mind. These are very important informations. So without further ado, let's go over back to ADAUSD here, to Cardano, and we're bouncing back, as you can see. And right now, if you go to the 4-hour chart, we're bouncing back. We're having this resistance of this 34 period EMA, but in my opinion, we're gonna take these highs off after the cyclical thing. After we put aside the cyclical weakness that we have, we can start to see a big move up here. The next target would be obviously the 1.2, the previous resistance, which is more visible on the daily chart. So here, the previous support, which is trading one-on-one, the previous support becomes the new resistance, and 1.2 would be the next target. And if we do take 1.2, the next target would be 1.4. If you do take 1.4, that's where we could expect a big slingshot move to the upside, and just like we had around here. So as you can see here, we were trading sideways, and then we had a big move up, because the price of something will never just go up in a straight line. It will consolidate. Sorry about that. It will consolidate. It will go up, correct a bit, go up, correct a bit, go up, correct. Even in these moves, when it's going up in a straight line, if you zoom in to the hourly, to the 30-minute chart, it would always correct at some point. The price of something can never just go up in a straight line, which means that you can, here, if you bought and you're holding, you're in profit. However, if you bought and you sold and you reloaded every time on the dips, you would make way more money than just buying and holding. So keep this in mind and manage your risk carefully as well. Here, a bearish scenario for Cardano, and a scenario to keep in mind, is break below the 1 level. if we do break below the 1 level, we can really accelerate to the downside. In my opinion, this would be a very low probability scenario to happen, but keep it in mind. It's something. It's possible. It's not likely, but it is possible. So manage your risk carefully. Use stop losses, and do not get chopped up when it comes to the markets, because we do have this cyclical weakness, and we could see more weakness coming ahead going into the end of March, and the beginning of April and May are usually strong for example, precious metals, and therefore would put pressure on the dollar. So the dollar, if the dollar goes down, the crypto would move up. I've seen a lot of posts where people are talking about gold versus Bitcoin, and saying that Bitcoin is competing with gold, and gold is competing with Bitcoin. However, in my opinion, that's not the case. We could see a scenario where both of them go up, because both of them are safe haven asset against inflation. So if there is inflation, both of them should go up. So when it comes to the crypto markets, there's a lot of potential still ahead, because we looked at the weekly and monthly charts of different cryptos, and there's a lot of potential when it comes to not just Cardano, but a lot of other cryptos as well, like Ethereum, Litecoin, and all of these cryptos, they are lagging behind, because when Bitcoin made the all-time highs and did break those records, these, for example, Litecoin hasn't even went to the all-time highs, haven't even broken up to the all-time highs. Ethereum is just trading just a little bit above the all-time highs. So these are scenarios to keep in mind, and these are something that you could capitalize on and really make a big profit out of it. Now, this was it. If we go back to Cardano here, we do have these targets of 1.4 and 1.2. If we do take these two targets, I think that the big move will start to come again, and the next target would be, well, we're gonna use fibs for the next target. So let's use Fibonacci expansions. Sorry. So we use the highs, we use hello, and we use the correction here, and we put here the highs. I'm gonna extend it over here, and as you can see here, the target would be, the first target is around, after we do break this, there's the 1.7, but in my opinion the next target is around 1.9. This is a long-term view, but if we do break this, we can stop at these levels. We stop at 170, and therefore if we do take 170, the next level to watch for is the level of 190. So these are the scenarios to keep in mind when it comes to Cardano. So this was it for our episode of today, and see you on the next episode.